Φίλες και φίλοι, καλώς ορίσατε στο 10ο επεισόδιο του HPO Development Podcast, που ο στόχος μας είναι να βοηθήσουμε τους ηγέτες του αύριο εμπνέοντας, ενθαρρύνοντας και εκπαιδεύοντας. Το σημερινό επεισόδιο θα το συνεχίσουμε στα αγγλικά, γιατί ο καλεσμένος μας προτιμά να μιλά στα αγγλικά και είναι πιο εύκολο για τον ίδιο, καταλαβαίνει, μιλάει και λίγο. Είναι χαρά μου να έχουμε τον σημερινό μας καλεσμένο, γιατί είναι ένας ξεχωριστός και με το επάγγελμα του, αλλά και σαν άνθρωπος με τις επιτυχίες που έχει κάνει τα τελευταία 20 χρόνια. Θα αρχίσουμε την εκπομπή στα αγγλικά. So, Anto, thank you for being here today. So I'm gonna start the podcast in English.
Excellent.
For those of you who are watching the first time the podcast, our goal is to help the leaders of tomorrow by inspiring, motivating, and educating. This is our 10th episode with Anto Paroian, who is a South African Armenian, right?
Yeah.
Born and raised in Johannesburg, who is currently residing in Cyprus, intrigued by human behavior and the study of human deception. Anto decided to become an international trained deceptionalist, specializing in deception detection, micro-expressions, verbal and non-verbal communication, cross-examination skills, and statement analysis. He is currently a sought-after public speaker, coach, and trainer for professionals, organizations, institutions, and in a wide variety of fields, including human resources, sales, law enforcement, and legal services. Anto is the CEO of Ideal Coaching, a soft skills company specializing in the study of body language, emotional intelligence, and objection handling, and the use of these skills as a powerful tools for succeeding in life as professionals. Described by his clients as igniting people's greatness, professional, detail-oriented, and outside-the-box individual, and passionate. Anto adapts his coaching process to the culture of each professional organization, as well as to their unique requirements and expectations, through his personalized hands-on attention to ensure success. His solid background from working in countries like Australia, Belgium, Cyprus, the Netherlands, South Africa, and the United Kingdom, together with his extensive experience in sales, business development, and management in global leading companies, such as Albert Partners, Aspen Trust Group, Bartercard, and Unibind, help him to identify, assess, and meet the real needs of professionals seeking to excel in their field of expertise. So for those who do not know, even I don't know if Andrea has research, can you explain what a deceptionalist is?
So first of all, I want to thank you for inviting me today. It's awesome to meet the both of you. Wish you the best of luck in the podcast that you guys are doing, because I know it is important, not only in Cyprus but internationally, for people to listen and to gain ideas into stuff that they had no clue about.
This is the goal, actually,
which is awesome. So a deceptionologist, it's someone that has the ability to ascertain whether or not someone is lying or someone is being deceptive in any type of circumstance. Now, my main focus is in the corporate world. So I'm dealing mainly with companies that want to use me in interview process when hiring key executives, doing trainings for staff members, dealing with the sales team, and so on and so forth. So it's just someone that is able to ascertain whether or not someone is lying. And the most important part is not finding out if they're lying; it's finding out why is it that they're lying and what are they lying about, because that's the meaty part of the story. But it's an interesting field to be in.
How did you decide to start with this stuff?
Well, I started my career in sales many years ago, and in the sales process, you're not taught to lie, but you're kind of taught to extend the truth. So for example, if I'm going to sell you a glass of water, I'm going to say, this is the best water in the whole wide world, even though I know myself it's not, right? So during the sales process, I picked up that certain people are good at what they do compared to others, even though they're selling the same thing and even though they've gone through the same sales training. But the thing that sets them apart is the emotional intelligence, is them understanding their clients or the prospects' needs, And also the way that they present the product, they don't really lie about the product. They don't really lie about the competitors. So at a very young age, I was intrigued by the sales process as a whole. I mean, why was I bad in sales and the guy next to me is flying high? So then I delved into emotional intelligence, psychology of selling, and then that kind of went into a step further to find out in the financial industry, even the sales industry, why do people lie? What is it to gain? And I wanted to find out, how can I tell if someone is lying? Like, do they do something that everyone does? Can you tell when someone's lying? Can you not tell when someone's lying? And it was more of like an interesting game to a certain extent, to be able to speak to someone and say, you know, what is your name? And they might say, oh, my name's Maria. And then you have to kind of understand if she's lying to you or not, right? I mean, it's an innocent lie. It's a white lie, if you want to call it. But why? Why is the reason that person's lying? So yeah, it's just intrigued with the whole the way that humans think. And I mean, we're complicated creatures at the end of the day.
Sure.
And just to better understand what is that we do and how do we do, and to better understand them as a whole.
Based on your experience, why do you think most people lie?
Depends on the circumstance.
Sure.
But I think majority of the time it's because of they're not comfortable with themselves. This is what I usually see.
They're insecure about themselves.
Yes, insecure about themselves, about their surroundings, about their position, about their status, about their financial well-being. It can be anything and everything. Something I mentioned before, it's like when you go on a first date, if you see a couple on a first date, the amount of lies that they tell each other, it's crazy. But they don't do this to harm each other. They do this so they can get along with each other, hoping they can go on the second date, third date, and then probably get engaged, married, kids, and so on and so forth. But in generally, I think we lie because we're insecure and we're not comfortable with who we are, is the first thing. And the second thing is that society kind of tells you to lie, right? So I've read a lot of books and I've seen a lot of videos and YouTube tutorials. It's like, you know, if you can't make it, fake it till you make it. I'm not too keen on that phrase, because if you're faking it, people will know that you're faking it and it becomes negative.
Negative to you, yeah.
If, you know, when I first got into sales in Cyprus, I didn't know Greek. I couldn't speak Greek, right? And I couldn't really fake that part. I couldn't say, no, I know Greek, but I'm not going to speak it because I've heard it in English. So I said, look, I'm sorry, you know, signomi, but I don't know Greek. No Greek, English. And that was the first step. So I'm not going to, and that's a small thing, but you can't really lie to get to where you want to get to, because sooner or later it's going to come back, and it's going to come back in a negative manner. One lie multiplied by another lie, and another lie, another lie. It's like a cesspool of lies. And at the end of the day, you're going to lose track of what lies you've said and what the responses were of those lies. And people are going to start saying, but he said this, but then he said that. That doesn't make sense. And then you're going to get frustrated. You're going to get defensive, and then it's going to blow up. So, yeah.
Do you think it's good to confront them, that to confront those people who are lying to you in front of their face? For instance, that if you know that he's lying, is it good to say that either you assume that he's lying or ask a question to see if he's lying and confront them? Why are you lying? Do you think it's a good idea?
So, again, depends on each person. So it depends on your person, your character, and personality. Some people don't want to have that confrontation. So, for example, if I asked you a question, you lied to me, I could be like, I mean,
but you know, do you understand people like this? I mean,
yes.
Okay.
Yes, yeah, you can tell from their character, the way that they dress, the way that they present themselves, the way they do their hair, makeup, things that they wear. You can assess a person's personality to a certain extent. On the flip side, you get some people that you can't really say anything to because they can get very defensive very quickly. So you would say, if I know that you're lying about something, I would say, okay, can you give me more information about that fact? And I will let you then decide if you want to come clean and tell me the truth, or if you want to carry on lying. If you want to carry on lying, sooner or later, you're going to get uncomfortable yourself and you're going to stop the conversation and you're going to leave.
Sure.
You know, I've done many interviews where I've asked the candidate, so for example, why do you want to leave your current employer? Why are you looking for something different? And they say, I'm looking for something different because I want the challenging position and I want to do something new. And okay, have you spoken to your boss that you want to do something new? No. Okay. Does your boss know that you're looking to do other projects? No. So it's not really something that you want to do differently, right?
Yes.
You just want to leave that company, right? Nah. Okay, so let's get with the truth. So why is it you're looking to leave? Is it the money? Is it the environment? Oh, because I'm being bullied, or I'm not getting paid, or I'm working long hours, or then just come clean and tell me the truth so we can have that conversation a little bit easier rather than me assuming specific things.
Sure.
So how do you understand when someone lies to you? What methods do you use that you can...
I can't tell you, it's a secret. I'm kidding. Okay.
What are your methods to analyze people and see when someone is lying to you?
Okay, so usually there's 3 methods that you use, or there's 3 items that you would concentrate on. The first thing is the micro expressions. So when you're telling me something, what is your face telling me at the same time? Now, micro expression is a subconscious movement of the facial muscles, okay, that lasts for less than a second. So it's not like, okay, that you kind of know, but it's something that's within a split of a second. So you have to be able to understand when I'm saying something to you. You have to also not look directly in their eyes, because that looks weird, especially when you're doing an interview. But you have to be able to pick up those signals. So the micro expressions is the one way that you can ascertain whether or not someone is lying. The second way is by the body language. What is the body telling you? Again, you don't understand that you're doing this. It's subconscious. So if I ask you a question about money and I say, how much money are you making currently? Usually some people will take a defensive stance and they'll take a step back, which means that probably they're uncomfortable at the question, or they're probably going to lie about their salary. So they can get a higher salary at the position they're in, right? So micro expressions, body language. And the third thing is the word that they use, the words that they use, word analytics. So if I ask you, where were you last night between 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock? And you're going to tell me, I went there and then I think I drove down that road and then I came home. It's very ambiguous, right? So from 9 to 10, it's 1 hour. You didn't drive 1 hour in your neighborhood, so you must have done something else. So the words that you use is also very important. I'll give another example. One of my clients is a student counselor, and she was talking to one of the students, and the student said the following. She said that, you know what, I'm not doing well in my classes, in my exams, because I have a hard time studying. So I can't do my homework and I'm having difficulty. So the student counselor said, okay, so tell me, what is it that you do when you go home after school? And she said, well, I go home, but because it's a little bit noisy, then I go to a coffee shop with my friend and we do the homework there, and then I go home. So I said, okay, cool. Now just take a step back. Did you ask her why she can't work at home? And the student counselor says, yeah, because it's noisy. And I said, okay, did you ask her, what does it mean by noisy? There's loud music playing, there's a baby crying. And then we understood that there's fighting in the house with the parents, so it's an uncomfortable environment for her. So it's not the noise as such, it's the external factors that makes her uncomfortable. And obviously that affects her psychologically and with the work. So it's the words that people use as well that you can ascertain whether or not they're lying. Now, I can't just look at one thing. I can't just listen to what you're saying. I can't just look at what your face is telling me or what your body's saying. I need to do all 3. Okay, right? So I need to incorporate all 3. And at the same time, I need to create a baseline of you and of you. What is a baseline? A baseline is, who are you? What do you do usually? So when you're nervous, when you're talking to me, do you usually go like this? Okay. If you constantly go like this, I'm going to say either you've got an itchy scalp, okay, or your shirt is itching you, or it's like a normal thing. But if I ask you a question about sales and you do this, and then you don't do it for another 30 minutes, and then I ask you a question about your boss, and then you do this again. For me, that's a marker. For me, it's like a polygraph. In the olden days, they used to put the polygraph on the arm okay? And when they asked you a question, your heartbeat started racing. They say, here's the marker. They would tick it. That's what I usually do in my mind, obviously. So if I ask questions in an interview, I tick them down. I say, but why did he act like this when I asked him about this? And then I go back to this and I keep on asking more questions until I get down to it. So to answer your question, it's 3 things: micro expressions, body language, word usage. All 3 of them are subconsciously done. So I have a lot of people saying, oh, Anto, you're a deceptionologist. That means that you can lie. I can't lie, because if I lie, you're going to know that I'm lying, because I can't control my micro expressions, word usage, and my body language.
Who do you think was the hardest person you had to deal with in order to understand if he or she was lying in a corporate or personal experience?
Oh, there's so many. I don't think I've ever encountered someone who was very difficult to know if they're lying or not, because usually you give signs away. Like I said, subconsciously you're doing this. So I've never come across someone that lied to me, which I didn't, that I missed completely, that I said, Opa, well, how did that happen? No, because you give specific things away. And when I start seeing these things, I kind of ask more questions and I try and dig a little bit deeper. Eventually, you're going to get very nervous. You're going to change the tone in your voice. So you're going to start speaking higher. You're going to use different words like, oh my God. But I know that you're not that type of person to say that regularly, right? So these things, it's an indicator. So I've never come across someone that's lied or someone that was very difficult to understand whether they're lying or not.
Do you feel that people fear of you because they know that you can understand them by saying a lie?
So when I introduce myself, when I'm hired by companies, I'm hired as an external consultant. So I don't really introduce myself saying, hi, my name is Anto, I'm a lie detector. Right? Because that just goes really bad in an interview. But usually when I meet someone like a business owner and they say, and I'm like, I'm like a human lie detector. Usually what they do is they take a step back.
Yeah.
And then I just say, oh, it's okay. I'm not analyzing you right now. I mean, there's no need for you to do this. And then we make like a joke and we carry on. But people do get nervous because they know that people lie. In general, they lie. Not to hurt someone, just generally they lie. So people become a little bit nervous, but I try not to say that to them right in the beginning. Like, I know when you're lying. Oh, feel free, carry on.
Do you think that we had on the show a clinical psychologist?
Nice.
And we were discussing how important it is for kids to develop to study psychology at a young age. Do you think it's something important as well to study at a young age as a part of psychology to understand why we are lying to ourselves and how we can stop lying firstly to ourselves and to others from a young age?
It is very, very important, but I'll do a parenthesis. I'll actually need to watch that piece with the clinical psychologist because that sounds interesting. The one thing is that kids at a certain age, until like 6 or 7 years old, they lie. They perpetually lie.
Why do you think that?
And they lie because they're living in a fantasy.
Yeah, they fantasize things.
They fantasize things like, oh, you know, Superman and Batman and Tooth Fairy.
Because we see Mickey Mouse cartoons. We see fantasy.
Yeah. And on the flip side, I mean, I lied to my kid when I talked to him about Santa, when I talked to him about the Easter Bunny, when I talked to him about the Tooth Fairy. I mean, it's a lie. But my son's relatively smart. So he says, oh, so Santa, he brings the gifts in the house, right? Yeah. Okay. But we don't have a chimney. So how does that happen? And you lock the doors at night, right? Yes. So how does he come in? Like they start. So to a certain extent, we're responsible for the lies, if you will, the white lies. But kids have an imagination. So, I mean, when my son tells me a story, he's 6 years old. He tells me a story from like start to finish. And it's like all this fantasy stuff about flying and this and that. But I think around about 10 years old, when kids, they start lying for malicious purpose to kind of trick you, to kind of get to what they want. It's like teenagers, you know, I mean, I lied when I was a teenager. Sure, Mom, I'm at school studying right now. In the meantime, I'm at my friend's place, right? But I think for me, the most important thing is I think kids need to learn soft skills in school and as early as possible, because that's the one thing that's lacking, not in Cyprus, I mean in general, worldwide. And soft skills is what's going to help kids deal with depression, deal with stress, deal with anxiety, deal with peer pressure, deal with all the negative stuff that no one really helps you. I mean, when I was growing up, no one helped me. No one told me this is what anxiety is, this is what stress is. I was a shy kid. I mean, the phone would ring at home and I would run to the next room because I didn't want to answer the phone. Right?
I was the same person before 18 years old, yeah.
And I'm thinking to myself now, I was like, what the hell was wrong with me? But I was that kid. And then one day during high school, something just flipped in my mind. I was like, why? And then I became completely different. But this is who I am. I'm not the shy person, right? And developing soft skills is very important, but there's no syllabus in school that actually teaches this to kids. Kids don't have time to spend with their parents because usually both parents are working, so they don't have that ability to be able to get something from their parents. So there is that gap of soft skills. But you know, if teachers could do this and teach soft skills even during a normal class, I mean, the basic stuff, it'll be very beneficial for kids when they grow up to actually be well prepared, not theoretical stuff, but also the practical. Like when you go to university, this is what's going to happen. You're going to feel lonely. You're going to feel depressed. You're going to feel stressed. You're not going to have enough money to buy food during the day. All these things, but we don't, because we try to protect kids and we don't tell them the negative stuff. We just tell them the roses and the way that birds chirping and stuff, which it's not reality, unfortunately.
The other question I wanted to ask is, we were discussing with with Nikos the other day about the masks, and I'd like to hear your opinion. How do you think the corporate communication has been influenced by wearing masks during working hours and the relationship with the employees? How do you think that has affected that?
So to a certain extent, just like Cyprus, I think majority of the countries are working from home. So most of the meetings that colleagues are now doing, they're doing it through Zoom or meetings or whatever the case may be. So that puts automatically, you're putting a barrier in front of your colleagues and you have that filter. So for example, when I'm speaking to you, I have the ability to be able to assess the whole of you, right? When I'm speaking to you via Zoom, I just see the chest up. So I only see what your shoulders and your face is doing. Sound quality usually is a little bit bad. Usually it's like a delay. So it's also frustrating and your brain starts to process different things at the same time. I know that a couple of weeks ago, I was watching a Zoom meeting with regards to some European Parliament members. And one person had a fish tank in the background, like an aquarium. And I spent more time looking at the fish swimming and seeing what kind of fish they had rather than listening to the person speak. So all these things affect your concentration. They grab your concentration. But in the workplace with the mask on, you can still kind of tell. So if I've covered my nose and below, you can still kind of tell if I'm smiling because it's equal here. You can still kind of tell if I'm angry. Certain things you can still pick up. And then you look at the body language. What is the body doing? Do I have a firm stance? Am I relaxed in my chair? But masks have forced people to be able to process more information when they're speaking to people rather than just, having a chit chat and thinking that you know the person and what they're saying and how they're saying it. But masks has added that additional level of being able to process more. What is it that the person is saying and how the person is feeling at the same time.
All right. So I hear from many businessmen that...
and businesswomen.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
A business is like a healthy organism. So what you have to do to... what you have to suggest to people in order to keep alive their business?
The culture within the business.
Yes.
Look, the one thing that's key in any company, not only in Cyprus but internationally, is transparency. So what I mean by transparency? The one thing I find that when things like bonuses, increases, promotions, these type of things come up, I feel that management has the need to be able to be as less transparent as possible. And I'll give you an example. A friend of mine a couple of months ago, he had a chat with his boss about an increase. He's an accountant. And his boss said, "Re file, mia chara, bomba, I'm only going to give you 2.5%. And my friend is like, okay, but you told me everything is 100%. You told me you're happy with my work. You told me that I'm fantastic, but only 2.5%. And he's like, it's seen it. Okay. And he said, well, if my boss said only 2.5%, then I'm not going to ask for more because maybe financially that's the amount that they can give. But then he found out from some other people that another department got a higher increase of like 4.5%, 5%. So then he started asking himself, but why? So the reason why I'm saying transparency is very important is that if you're not being as transparent as possible, it leads to people assuming things. So assumption is the root of all mess ups, because if you think you know something but you don't, it makes it even worse. So being transparent with employees and telling them, look, some people get more, some people get less. I'm going to give you more because of this. And these are the things that you've proven to us and to the company. And I'm not going to give you the top range because I still have issues with you. Now, during appraisals and bonus chats, I've seen a lot of managers, they become defensive. So for example, if I don't want to give you an increase, right, I'm going to say, I really like everything that you're doing, fantastic. I'm not going to say, but you know what, Andrea, you're usually coming in 25 minutes late every morning, or you're usually leaving work 30 minutes early, or, you know, Serge, you're talking on the mobile phone like 2-3 hours a day. I mean, what's up with this? They don't want to have that confrontation. So they kind of lie and they say everything's fantastic, but I'm not going to give you. But why? I need you to be transparent with me. I need you to tell me the reality. All the companies that I've worked in and the teams that I've had, I've been as transparent as I can without hurting people at the same time. So I've been honest and I've said, look, why are you doing the same mistakes over and over again? Let's sit down and let's go through this. Let me help you with this. Why are you coming late every morning? Okay, let's do a different plan. Maybe you can come early in the morning because you're dropping your kids to school and you can go home earlier, right? So it's to be able to work and have that dialogue with the people. But generally speaking, there's no transparency. There's that barrier between me and everyone else. And that's something I feel that it's detrimental to the environment as a whole between management and their teams.
Yeah, I believe that in your workplace, it's very important to have people that can understand you.
Yeah.
So if you have someone, let's say, I have Sergio and Mr. Nikos here, and when I have something to ask them, I will.
Yeah.
Immediately. If I need something, I'm gonna ask. If I have a question, I'm gonna ask.
Bravo.
It's very important to know, not believe, to know that there are people that can understand you. You can rely on them, both.
And at the same time, you have the confidence to be able to ask them because they're going to say, Ela, Bemo, what's up? Not, hey, I don't have time now. I have to go to a meeting. I have on a call. Oh, you're going to ask another question again? That's what most of the managers do, unfortunately.
They're avoiding...
No, because maybe they don't know the answer to the questions. Maybe they don't want to spend the time. Maybe they just don't care. Maybe, I mean, they're burnt out. I mean, there's a lot of things. But, I mean, for me, when I used to go into the office, the first thing people would do is they would ask me like 1,000 questions. And I didn't mind. The only time I minded was if they were asking me the same question again and again. And then I realized that maybe it's a fault of me, that I'm not giving you the right answer or the answer in the right way for you to be able to understand. Or it's just simply you're not spending the time to process this and think for yourself. So if I go to the office, I'll ask Anto. No, Anto's not here today. What are you going to do? I'll ask someone else. No, you can't ask anyone else. Try and do it yourself and then come to me with solutions. And then we can look at the solutions and find the best way. But you have to be able to have the confidence to be able to have that ability to ask.
Yes.
Where a lot of people build up their wall and say, not now. Like parents, you know, the kid goes, not now. I'm watching the football. Not now. I'm sending an email. Oi, come back in 2 minutes. Or, you know, it's the way that you say it as well.
Sure. I believe many organizations, as you mentioned before, lack the transparency and people skills, I believe, as well, like empathy and understanding how other people feel at a specific time. So my next question is, so when you, for instance, you get invited for a meeting to consult an organization and they want to improve their soft skills, but they're very, let's say, closed-minded, very egoistic, let's say.
I love this type of people.
Yeah. What processes do you use in order to assess, evaluate, and come up with the proper solution for them in order to improve their employees or even their soft skills?
So the one thing that I love doing, and this, let's say it's a sales team. So you're speaking to the sales manager and you say, you know what, let me help you. I don't need any help. I'm fantastic. My team is excellent. Okay. So what I usually do is I start speaking to the team individually, right? And anything that they tell me becomes anonymous. And then I write that down. And then I take all those points and I go to the management and I say, you know, this is what your team is talking about you. This is what this is what they're saying about the company, about the processes, about the remuneration, about the environment, about anything. That's the first step where anybody would say, wow. First, they're going to deny. They're going to say, oh, no, it's just rubbish. But this is what they've said. So there has to be some sort of truth towards this, right? And then it's to be able to sit down with management and say, okay, how can we resolve these things? And my job is not to just show you what the issues are, but to be able to work together with you and the rest of the team to be able to make sure that those issues get resolved. Now, the issues getting resolved can be multiple things. But for example, if it's remuneration, I'm not getting paid enough and you're in sales, I can't increase your salary. I can't go to your boss and say, Refile Grima gave me 400 euros extra. I can't do this. But what I can do is I can work with you to make more sales, right? So then we start looking at your prospecting skills, your cold calling skills, the sales process, objection handling skills, which I love and everyone is really bad at. So there's different levels, but it's for you to be able to understand, to get a better picture as to what the status of the company is and what are the issues, and then bring that to them and say, guys, these are the issues. Did you know about these? The majority of the time they say no. And they might have known about it, but they didn't want to confront it because they didn't want to then find a solution to the issues. So my first meeting is just that, finding out everything about the company and speaking to the individuals within the different departments, within the different teams, just to get a better feel and better understanding, because these guys are there. They're going through that 8 hours a day, 9 hours a day, 10 hours a day. And from then, I then tailor packages and I say, these are the things that are the issues and these are the things that I can work with you. And not only this, but I also then give my, let's say, guarantee that these things that I'm telling you are wrong aren't going to be the same thing 6 months down the line or 12 months down the line. So there's an action plan set with milestones. So the management can also track the progress. So it's not just something I'm telling you and I'm working towards. And then at the end of the 6 month, 8 month, 12 months, they see that all those issues have been resolved. So we do like another a query or assessment with the employees, and then they give feedback, and all the stuff that we had issues for before 12 months ago, they should no longer be there. And that's what usually happens because we address those situations and we address those issues.
3 or 4 years ago, do you know Gary Vee, by the way? Gary Vee.
Yeah.
Okay, so 3 or 4 years ago, he said a sentence that changed my life, that a company works for their people and it's not vice versa.
Yes. Yeah.
So what you are doing, what I understood, is that you work for the people. You try to improve those people's soft skills.
Yes.
That's something that many organizations lack. They focus on the revenue and on how much money is coming, and they forget about the people who are the people who help them make those revenues. So at HPO, that's something I'm trying to, with Nikos, to achieve, that we are working for Andrea, we are working for Justin, Janos, we are working for them in order to develop them to become I always mention Mackenzie. I like that company. That they once said that anyone who comes here, they can leave as millionaires if they want to. Not meaning like millionaires, but they have the knowledge and the soft skills.
Yes.
That we develop, that we help them develop. So it's I really hope that in the next 5 or 10 years, many organizations and individuals will start working on their own soft skills, because as I believe that you definitely have encountered many organizations that even the employees do not know what they want, and you have to work with them on their goals.
Yes.
So it all starts on how we develop, it's another word that I love, it's a deliberate practice mindset. An ability to love, to excel every single day. So my next question would be, how do you help someone build a deliberate practice mindset, a mindset that constantly loves being evolved and developed every single day? How you can help someone develop such a mindset?
So that's something that probably a coach would do, or a life coach would be mainly responsible to say, these are the procedures that we follow. But from my perspective, what I do is I just need to find the core of the person. What is the person passionate about? Right. I once had an interview. I was hiring someone that's going to work with numbers. She was going to be in the office 9 hours a day in front of the computer. And I started talking to her without, prior to starting the actual interview. And I said, so what are you passionate about? And she said, I love kids. And I said, so what do you want to do? Forget about this position. What do you want to do? What do you see yourself doing? What's your dream job? And she said, I want to become a teacher. Now, I can't have that person. I will not hire that person in an office job when their passion is dealing with kids. Mm-hmm. So if I had hired her, she would have been there. She would have gotten the salary. She would have been happy for 6 months, 1 year. But then she was going to die every single day that she was coming to work inside of her, because she's not doing what she's passionate about. The same thing with me. There's certain things I've been passionate about and I've done them because I can't not do them. I'm not the type of person, right? And the one example I always use is that, you know, when, let's say, for example, you're at a restaurant and you see a famous person, right? I don't know. Who do you like? Who famous out there? International?
Rihanna.
Okay. So let's say, for example, okay, maybe you're wrong example because you'll probably do it. But if you're sitting in a restaurant having a meal with friends and you see Rihanna walk past, okay, what's your
freak out? Okay,
you would freak out. But what would you do next? What would be your next move?
Probably I would be thinking to go and take a selfie with her.
Bravo, okay, well, you're thinking of doing it. So what I try and change is that process of thinking about it, because when we start thinking about it, we start procrastinating.
Okay.
Right?
No.
Just do it.
Yeah. So should I go? Should I take a photo with her? Oh, but maybe my mobile is not that good enough and I need the flash. And maybe, but I can't do it. Just go.
How do you stop, do you think? How do you help someone stop procrastinate? Because many of us have this problem, I think.
Just get them to see the negative side of procrastination. So for example, if you only had 5 seconds to see Rihanna, what would you do? Would you still think about this? No, you would jump on top of her, right? And you would think about the camera and the angle and the flash and light and makeup. That will become secondary. The first thing is to get picture with that person. You know, and that's happened to me when I was a kid. These things happened to me, not with Rihanna, I wish, but
you said international.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, I really like that person. I want to go and tell that person. No, but what is she gonna think? I really want to go play with those kids football, but what are they gonna think? No, what do you care what they're gonna think? Go do it. If you fail, you fail. If you don't fail, fantastic, and you get what you wanted, right? So most of the time, and Gary Vee says as well, most of the time people fail because they're kind of. They are prone to fail themselves, and they're giving themselves all the negative objections of, you're not going to do this because you need money, you need this, no, why? Do it. If you fail, you say, look, at least I tried.
Yes.
I failed, and then take the next step, make changes, the reason why you failed, and then try and do it again, because sooner or later you're going to make it, right?
True, yeah.
But the one thing, like I said, the one thing I do is I try and avoid that procrastination part, the thinking part. You want to run your own business cleaning dogs? Do it. Don't think about all the negative things. And then the other thing that we do is we ask our friends and family.
Yes.
Refile, I want to do this. Do you think, okay, oh, they're lost. You're crazy. It's not going to work. And then you're going to say, okay, let's not do it because it's not going to work. No. What are you passionate about? So the first thing I speak to people and I want to find out from is that, what are they passionate about? What drives you? What gets you to come out of bed every morning? And then you yourself, you start opening up and you say, you know what, I'm doing this, but I'm not really interested in this. And, I studied accounting, but I wanted to become a doctor. Okay, well, it's not too late, right? Unless you're like 64, 65, then it's a bit too late. But, try and do something different with your life. And I see a lot of people that are in a 9-to-5 job that they hate what they do.
How do you help? How would you advise someone 9-to-5 to stop to adjust what they are doing in order to do what they want to do in the future?
So I take you back to June of last year. Okay. So June was a couple of months after the whole Corona lockdown. People didn't know what was going on, remote, Zoom, this and that. And in June, July, I realized that I can't work for anybody else anymore because it's not something that I want to do, right? And at the worst possible time, July, August, I left my 9-to-5 job, well, probably 7-to-7 job. And I said, you know what? I want to, this is what I'm passionate about. I need to give it a try. And people around me said, you're nuts. Like, you're crazy. This is the worst time ever. And I even had people say, you're going to fail. Like, not even sugarcoated, not in a nice way. Just, you're a dumbass. Like, why are you even doing this? Well, what is wrong with you? And that kind of gave me the motivation to prove people wrong. And I said, no, well, I'm going to do this at a very bad time. And I'm going to prove, first of all, to myself that I can do this. And then secondly, by doing this, I'm going to show it to everyone else that it is possible. So I think the most important thing is for anybody that's in a 9-to-5 job, let's look at it that way, they're in that position because they like the income. They like the concept of having a steady income. Right? So I know my bills are going to get paid. I know I'm going to put food on the table. I know that my house repayment is going to be done, blah, 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 blah. And I understand and I respect that. But the one thing that you need to understand is that you're limiting yourself to only that salary. Whereas if you do something different, you can actually get that salary plus a lot more. But, and this is the most important but, it takes hard work, right? It's not just going to come to you. Like, okay, I left my 9-to-5 job, I resigned, cool. And then you need to work for it. You need to do the marketing. You need to do the phone calls. You need to send emails. You need to do LinkedIn. You need to do podcasts, right? You need to put yourself out there. And a lot of people, they don't do this. They think, okay, I've done this. I've created a company. I'm renting my offices, but no one's coming. Of course they're not going to come because they don't know you exist.
Yes.
Have you taken the step to be able to do this? Yeah, I did advertising on Facebook. Okay, and how did that work out for you? Is your service something that you should be advertising on Facebook? Yeah, I don't know. Well, if you don't know, you just spent 500 euros for nothing, right? So you need to, I always find out what are they passionate about, and to get them to come out of their shell, their 9-to-5, I'm okay, I'm steady, I don't want anything different. Of course you want something different. Otherwise you wouldn't be complaining to me.
Last year I had the opportunity to start something, a different podcast, a different show, I would say. It's called Original Minds.
Okay.
And it's one of the reasons we are sitting here today. So I started doing it with, so I have a friend that he came to the show and we've discussed different, he's an activist, Abraham Themistokleos. And we both like helping other people. That's what I understood with my services. Yeah. I'm not providing services, I'm providing help to other people. Yeah. So how can I expand that word help in different industries? So last year we started doing podcasts in order to help psychologically the citizens of Cyprus while they were at home and being depressed, you know.
Lockdown. Yeah.
Yes. So I said we can start doing podcasts and bring different singers so they can sing, actors, business owners. So we've done that. So yeah. The reason I'm mentioning it is because during the lockdown, to be honest, the last year crisis was the best thing that has happened to me, because I had more time to assess myself, to evaluate myself, to adjust myself, to improve myself. And that's something I believe that many that's our next topic, the freelancers should do right now, must do right now. It's to develop new skill sets and have a diversified skill set in order to help their clients, friends, customers succeed their goals. So it's really interesting seeing how many, when you change your mindset from seeing problems as something you cannot pass and seeing problems as solutions and opportunities. Yeah. I think that's when your mind, that's when you'll get many opportunities with many people. And then my next question would be, how do you, because we've discussed that on our Zoom call about freelancers and entrepreneurs, how would you suggest or advise freelancer that right now is providing enough video production services or photography services in order to build that mindset that I mentioned before, the deliberate practice mindset, that a soft skill, that self-control, for instance, that many of us say, for instance, with our intern Justin, we have many. He has an issue. I'll mention that with time management, and I have that as well sometimes. And I believe that time management is life management. Okay. So Justin has a tendency, he's a really passionate and really good guy, really smart guy. But for instance, we discussed on Sunday, you have to start reading 20 pages from a book every single day, and he's like, I'll do it. Next day, I called him. Did you read 20 pages? He did not read that. It's okay. I mean, you have to understand that you're not doing that for me. Yeah, you're doing that for yourself. Yeah. I'm trying to help you develop new skills. So even if you want to leave us, you'll go somewhere else, and you'll be a good
better at something specific. Yeah.
Yes, and you'll be a good. Even if he chooses to leave in a year or 2 years and go somewhere else, he'll be a good advisor, advocate for HPO. Yeah. So the question is, how did you? First, it's your. I think it's your. It comes from your personal experience because you did it last year.
Yeah.
So you went from 9 to 5 to become your own leader.
Yeah.
How would you suggest someone, a freelancer, to do the same thing? I mean, maybe not opening their own business, but to understand that right now is the time to self-evaluate and improve your skill sets, learn new things, because we are at home and we have more time to develop ourselves.
Yeah. Again, you can't. People need to understand that the world that we're living currently, or the world that you are living in, I don't mean like the world as in the world. I mean your bubble that you're living in, right? It's not the bubble, right? There's other bubbles out there. So what I'm saying is that it's not just Cyprus. Don't look at Cyprus specifically. That's the one thing I hear on a regular basis, specifically with people that are trying to do freelancing, like artwork and graphic design and video editing and stuff. It's like, there's no clients in Cyprus, there's no clients in Cyprus, there's no clients in Cyprus. Why are you looking only in Cyprus? Right? Now, like you mentioned, with regards to COVID, I have clients from countries where I never knew I would actually get clients from, thanks to COVID. And it's a blessing in disguise. So if you want to market yourself, don't only market yourself in where you are in your bubble, but try and market yourself outside. That's the first thing. So you need to be able to understand that people have a tendency of complaining and being negative, and that's why they don't succeed, because they're giving themselves the objection without someone else giving them the objection themselves. So the most important thing is they need to be able to understand the product that I have is going to be beneficial to a specific company. So if I'm doing graphic designing, for example, and I want to do leaflets and corporate brochures and this type of stuff, then I need to think, okay, what type of company would like my services? And then think of a local company. So company X, company Y, company Z. Okay, cool. So take those companies, take the profile of those companies, and then extend that internationally. So can I go onto a network on the internet, find a directory of these type of businesses? Yes. Okay, cool. And the next thing you would do is just send them an email with a sample. This is what I do. Okay. We all go back to sales. Sales is all about the numbers. It's a numbers game. The more you do, the more returns you're going to get. I can't make one phone call a day and expect that one phone call is going to turn into a sale, right? Yeah. I need to do usually 10 phone calls to get 2 or 3 appointments. From those 2 or 3 appointments, I might get 1 sale. So it's a numbers game. The more I do exponentially, the more I'm going to get back in return.
Sure, yeah.
So anybody that's either freelancing or they want to do this as a 9 to 5 and they want to take ownership and do this as their own business, they need to be able to work hard. That's the first thing. You need to be able to work as hard like you've never worked in your life before, because this is going to be your bread and butter.
One other thing I would like to add to your working hard, it's working smart as well. It's really important,
yes.
I think.
Yes.
Because many people, I used to work really hard, and that really influenced me in I would say in a little bit in a bad way.
Yes.
Because I used to work like until 4 a.m. every single day because I love doing that, but it's really important to understand. The other thing I'd like to add to your the previous sentence you said about the passions.
Yeah.
I changed the word passions to values. I think if we start seeing our values, either our home, our dogs, our family, our walking with the dog, or friends,
10 kilometers a day.
This is why I started doing that with my dog, because that's when I met Abraham 3 or 4 years ago. He embedded in me the word harmony, to understand how important it is to have a balanced life and not just working hard every single day for others. Because working hard for others, you're gonna succeed either way. Either you put 10 or 14 hours, but if you work smart, you can do it by working 4 hours a week, like Tim Ferriss mentions in his book.
Exactly.
4 hours a week workplace. So my other question is, do you ask the people, the employees organization, their values, or do you ask their passions? I mean, what do they value as person? What are their passions in the future?
So when you ask someone what's the most important thing to you, so in an interview I always say, give me the 3 things that are most important to you in a job. right? Number 1 being the most, number 2 being the least, and number 3 being, well, middle, and number 3 being the least. But I want you to give me from number 3 to number 1. And usually they'll say something along the lines of money, right? Money is the least important for me. We all know that that's not the case, right? So that's the first lie that they'll tell you. The second thing they'll tell you is probably the growth in the company. So am I able to progress, get promotions and that type of stuff? And the most important part usually is the environment of the company, right? So environment of a company, if that's actually true, that you're telling me environment is very important to me, automatically you're telling me that you value communication, you value empathy, you value understanding, you value communication. So without you specifically telling me, writing them down, I automatically know what you value. Okay. What you're passionate about usually revolves around what your values are. So if you value communication highly, one of your passions is going to be to speak to people, to get them to tell you their issues, to be able to give advice, to be able to help people that need in the workplace, to be able to train people about specific stuff on the work. So that's going to come in that conversation. So I think for me personally, the values are linked to the passion. But values, like you mentioned, it's core. So when I ask them the 3 things, they will tell me what's the most important to them. And then you can actually understand what do they value the most. Now, if I ask them a question, okay, so this specific position pays 3,000 euros. And they're like, oh my God. Okay. But you're not going to get your own office. Okay. You're going to be in an open plan office. And you're not going to have any lunch breaks. So you're going to have lunch at your desk. How does it make you feel? And if they start thinking about this, then I know that they need the social interaction, right? Okay, so you're sitting in an open space that you can't really talk to someone because everyone's going to look at you, but you're going to have lunch at your desk, which means that you don't have that lunchtime to speak to people, to be able to socialize, right? So then you start contemplating, is it worth sacrificing this for the money? Okay, if you say, oh, hey, I'll take the 3,000, then I know that you're really not that sociable type of person. You don't care. But it could be high maintenance, because if my competitor offers you 3,200 euros, you might leave for the money. So I need to make sure that if I hire you, I need to be able to sustain your passion for making money to a certain extent, because I might lose you 6 months down the line, 1 year down the line, 2 years down the line. So yeah, money usually is the key factor, because no one wants to work for free and no one wants to work for something that they deserve, that they need to work for X plus. But usually the environment plays a big role, and the environment plays a big role because people like to be social, people like to communicate, people like to show empathy, have understanding. I've been in multiple offices where people come to work and they say, oh, you know what, I'm really having a bad day today. And then they will wait for someone to say, and so what happened? And if that doesn't happen, they get agitated. And it's like, guys, I told you I'm having a bad day today. And everyone's like, okay, cool. I got work to do, man. Like, do you want to talk about this during lunch? Or so it's different types of characters. But yeah, generally speaking, environment is important because they need that social interaction and they need the understanding, communication stuff. So I think people's values, they will tell you. What they're passionate about is less visible. And that's where you have to ask more questions to be able to get to what their passion is. Yeah.
I think that the environment in a workplace, for me, it's the most important. Because as I said before, if you have people that can understand you, support you, feel you, they can lead you to a better, to be a better person to the future, and improve not only yourself but others also, influence them in a nice way.
So my other question would be, I see the word offer, that we must, every single one must offer to someone else, as corporates, as individuals, as freelancers, entrepreneurs. We have to offer something for free. You've started doing that on your LinkedIn account. You started doing videos to educate other people, right? So how do you see yourself offering in 3 years, besides doing video content? Might be going to high schools, teaching people soft skills, seminars. How do you see yourself offering? How do you want to offer in the future to people?
Well, I've done that in multiple ways. The first way is by doing workshops. So I've done online workshops for organizations, which I haven't charged because I believe that it's more beneficial if I do it for free as a token of appreciation of what that organization is doing. So that's the first thing. It's giving something for free. I've seen, especially a lot in Cyprus, where when the conversation comes up to say, we have this organization, can you do something? No, of course, 2,000 euros. It's like, it's second nature. I get this because everyone has bills to pay and we do this for a living. I get this. But if I have the ability to do something for free to give back to the community, I'm going to do this for sure 100%. The other thing that I'm involved in is something similar to the Innocence Project. So the Innocence Project is people that are convicted for something and they are wrongfully convicted. I know Kim Kardashian, she's doing something in the US as well.
Yeah, I've seen it.
So I'm trying to do the same thing where I'm trying to give something back to anybody out there that needs my, let's say, expertise in assessing a specific case, speaking with the lawyers, even if it's an unfair dismissal from a company. Again, I look at all the information available. I'll look at the footage. I'll look at the audio. I'll read through the statements. And if I can help in any way, shape or form, I will do so. That part, again, it's free. I don't charge the people money for that service. So in my mind, I'm doing that because I wanted to do that to give something back to the community as well. And something that you mentioned as well, I want to get more involved in is in the schools with the youth, because I feel the youth right now, they're thirsty to learn so much, right? And my biggest issue is I feel like they're learning all the wrong things, right?
Yeah.
And
telephone.
Exactly.
Mobile, yeah.
And the thing is that someone might watch this podcast, right? And they say, soft skills. Oh, what is soft skills? And they go on their mobile phone and look at it, and they'll see like this video of this, I don't know, guy talking about soft skills. And then, no, cool. I know what this is. I've got soft skills. Okay, because I've looked at a video for 5 minutes. No, it's no. So I want to be able to work more with the youth as well and explain to them what is soft skill. And it's not just reading something for 5 minutes and thinking that it's not about doing a Udemy course of $20 and all of a sudden you become a hypnotherapist. It's not about this. It's about learning firsthand experience. And I'm going to give you my experiences. I've done this for 20 years. I've worked in different companies in different countries. I've met weird people, right? I've been in weird situations. And I've learned from all those experiences, and it's made me to who I am today. That's why another thing that you mentioned, people think of things in a negative manner. All the companies that I've worked for, I can give you all the negative stuff about them, but I prefer to choose the positive things, right? And the positive things is I learned what I learned, and I am who I am today because of these things. I take my parents. People say, I had my parents. I mean, when I was a teenager, I didn't like my parents because they were trying to control me, and I couldn't go out with my friends, and I couldn't do this, right? But now thinking back, I'll say I really love them because they shaped me to who I am today, right? They instilled values in me, and this is who I am today. They instilled specific characteristics, traits. This is who I am today. So it's not looking at all the negative stuff. Forget about the negative stuff. Put it away, close the door, and forget about this. Look at the positive things. Look at the stuff that you've learned from. But the one thing that you mentioned, the youth, I do want to give something back to the youth. So I am looking for opportunities to be able to give something back, whether it's a workshop, which is something that I'm planning on. I'm working on actually. So giving back something to the community, for me, it's massive, and I do believe in doing that. I don't believe everything is money. You have money today, you don't have money tomorrow. So money doesn't define someone. Yeah,
the way you earn it, you can lose it anytime.
Exactly, easy come, easy go.
Yeah.
For me personally, and this might be a bit too deep for this conversation, but when I die, I don't want people to say, Anto was a millionaire, right? I want to say, Anto, he helped so many kids. He built that school. He built that building for the homeless. He repaired this. That's what I want people to remember me by, not the status, not the money, it's more deeper than this. And you can only do this if you give something back to the community, if you work for the people. And that's something that you mentioned. You work for the people.
Yeah, it's very important.
Not for the company, not for the money, not for the status, not for the prestige. It's for the people to better themselves.
Do you think, I believe that every organization can benefit from soft skills, but can you describe what are the benefits from, let's take a weird example, a restaurant. How can a restaurant benefit from hiring you and developing their soft skills?
Customer service. Do you know how many times I've gone to a restaurant, right? And the lady or the gentleman, they might come to me and say, "Ne paragalo," and then as they're looking at me, they'll look at the machine thing,
yeah.
right? Okay. So for me, that kind of irritates me because when I'm speaking to someone, I like to have that connection with someone. I don't mean like weird connection, like continuously like this. I mean a connection. So you end up telling them certain things, and they might get something right, something wrong because they're still thinking about this and still thinking about that and this and that. So customer service is very important. For me, that would be the one soft skill that I would say, guys, you need to improve on this. Second thing is communication.
Yeah.
Ella, ne, ella. So if I'm a foreigner and that's happening, I'll be like, oh, what is going on? Like, what is the service I'm getting right now? And I'm not talking about, the corner restaurant. I'm talking about massive chains. I'm talking about international hotels. I'm talking about prestigious places where you would not expect this, right? I'll give you another example. Many, many years ago, I was at a wedding at I can't say it, at a hotel in Nicosia. And this hotel had decided for many years, they had decided to hire students working in the hospitality industry to work during the wedding dinner. So they would come and they bring the plates and they would come and put the wine and so on and so, which I respect 100% because it's good for financially feasible for the hotel. And it's also good for the person to get that experience to work at such a big hotel.
Yeah.
Maybe not getting paid, but still working at the hotel. And the one thing that I just didn't understand was this kid came, and like he was a young kid. He came and he said, "Do you want wine?" And I said, "Yes." And he goes, "Do you want red or white?" And I said, "Red." And he's like, "Oh, okay, cool." And he started putting the white wine in, okay? So he's putting this, and I'm looking at it, I'm thinking, okay, is this maybe for my wife? Is it for someone else? But the glass is right in front of me. So anyway, so he poured it. He took a step back. I looked at him, waiting for him to put the red wine, and he's looking at me, and it was like this awkward silence of maybe 10, 20 seconds. And he's like, he looks at me without saying anything. He goes and he pours a little bit more. and I was like, okay, thank you, but I wanted red. And he's, oh, sorry. So in his like kind of state, he took another glass, and as he took the glass, that glass fell and hit the one that was full, and the glass went and wine and red. Okay. Now, just the communication part for me is very important. So when I'm communicating, it's not just the customer service, it's the communication, it's the way that you say it, it's the eye contact, it's the understanding. If you don't understand something, right, ask another question. Yesterday, I was at a Suvijidigo, and the guy came in and he said, "Θέλω ένα mix." And the guy said, "Θέλεις πατάτες?" And he's like, "Ναι, βάλω μέσα." But he had the mask on. And he's like, "Ξεχωριστά?" And he's like, "Ναι, μέσα." And he's like, "Mesa or Saxo?" And he took the mask. He was like, "Mesa." Okay, so, but he wanted to understand exactly what the client wants, so that when the end product comes out, he knows exactly what he wanted is what he got. Okay, takeaway. But in any case, so communication is the key. Hospitality, just general manners, etiquette, eye contact, time management in the hotel industry. I mean, restaurants, time management. I see a lot of people that you have empty tables and they might come and clean this table, but there's empty tables out there. So the people that are waiting outside can be seated at that desk, right? So go and get that person to sit there and then clean the table if you're short-staffed. Don't clean this table because those people are waiting outside. They're seeing the empty tables and they're thinking, why is this waiter cleaning the table when we're sitting here and there's another 5 tables free? So prioritization, time management, and there's multiple things.
Go on.
Okay, thank you. Through the evolution of technology we're facing right now, many restaurants, shops, dealing with their communication part online. Yeah. So do you believe that there is a gap between businesses and their people through technology instead of improving the communication skills?
Look, communication you'll always need when it comes to customer service. So for example, even if I order something online and it's not what I wanted, I'm going to phone the offices, right? And I need to speak to someone. Same thing with internet, for example. I was having issues with my internet, right? I've already paid for the service. It's already in my house or it's already in my office. But when I phone, I'm already upset because I can't have a Zoom call with my client, right? So when I'm calling the provider, I'm already negative. Me as the client, I'm the negative. So I might say things, I might sound negative, I might be angry, but the person on the other side needs to understand that, first of all. And then second of all, try to kind of diffuse my anger.
Yeah.
And you see this very nicely in the US. When the police pull over people for speeding, for example, when they pull you over, they don't come to them and say, oh, this is the prostimo, give me your dafto. They say, hey, where are you from? I'm from Indianapolis. Oh, really? Oh, sunny day. Oh, there's that rapport. And then they say, well, are you aware that you were traveling at a quick distance? And they're like, oh my God, really? No. Oh, okay, cool. Can I have your license plate and registration, please? It becomes natural, right? You build that rapport. So, for example, technology isn't going to replace that customer service aspect. It's not going to replace that client loyalty because the service was good. I ordered things online from an electronic shop. They brought it to my office, but I still spoke to the guy. Right? I still had that connection with him, and he was a nice guy. And then I phoned the manager and I said, this guy that you sent through is awesome, because I asked him 2-3 questions which were not related to that product, but he gave me the answer. Yeah. And the third question that he didn't know the answer to, he said, he went on the company website and then he looked for it and he said, ne, ibarki. I was like, man, hands down, that's like so awesome. In the middle of the street, you're doing this for me. That's customer service. So technology isn't going to take away that aspect of communication. Yeah. And clients and customers want that customer service. Not in Cyprus, but in general.
Yeah, the human connection generally.
Yes.
Do you think there is a culture in any country that helps the citizens with their psychology, soft skills? Let's say like Singapore, for instance, they do like monthly educational workshops where they teach their citizens different topics. Do you know any country that is really good with their soft skills as a culture?
As a culture, look, it depends, because in each culture you have the good, the bad, and you've got the in between. I mean, even Cyprus, you have that culture because we're friendly people, right? So when I first came to Cyprus from South Africa, people say, oh, where are you from, Johannesburg? I know cousins and uncles, and it's friendly. They try to build a rapport. They don't learn this. Right? They don't learn this in school. It's the mentality, it's the DNA, it's the Mediterranean way of life. If you go to Italy, it's exactly the same thing. If you go to Germany, maybe not so much. Right? That's a bit different. So it depends with regards to the culture. But again, you get the good people and you get the bad people. Like, I've met Germans who wouldn't shut up even for a second on the plane. And I was like, can I just sleep? I just want 3 hours of just relax. And I was like, no. But it's the different types of people. I think it depends on the culture, nationality, and the way the way they've structured the syllabuses in even the schools. Like Sweden, for example, I know they encourage students more on the social skills side. They encourage them with activities. They encourage them with like reading. They encourage them with drama and play and emotions and these type of things. Other cultures, probably in China, Japan, maybe not so much, because it's not accepted to show your feelings, especially in Japan. Like, it's not accepted for you to say, I'm sad, I want to cry now. People cry, they cry inside themselves, because it's not acceptable. And it's the same thing that we do as society. We tell boys when they're really young, don't cry like a girl. I hear a lot of parents say this. What do you mean, don't cry like a girl? Only girls cry? Really? When you're a Liverpool supporter, when Liverpool lost the Champions League, you didn't cry? I mean, come on, right? So, and we do this without even knowing, because society's kind of brainwashed us to a certain extent to do this. If my son wants to cry, let him cry. I don't care.
True.
I want to find out why he's crying, and then I want to find out why he's feeling that bad, and then kind of overcome this. But people want to cry, let them cry. So, it depends on the culture, but there's also people within that culture that you will have different experience with. The French, for example, they might not be open-minded, but I've met a lot of open-minded French people. So it depends.
I hear lots of students that they wanna study abroad, like in the States, UK, or whatever, and they prefer to stay there, for instance, or travel around the world and get new experiences. Yeah. You, for instance, are in Cyprus right now in a market where I believe that not many are aware of soft skills. And instead of choosing to leave Cyprus, you prefer to stay here and find a way to offer your services. So my question is, how do you approach them or educate them in order to understand the importance of soft skills? And how do you make someone understand, the CEO or CFO or whatever, the importance of your soft skills, and how do you approach them as a salesperson? Because you probably do your 10 calls a day, I think, or emails. So,
okay, so I'm the type of person that does things outside of the box, right? I'm not the type of person that will follow the rules and regulations, even though I do wear my face mask and I do get my testing and I do travel at the right speed. I don't follow the rules and regulations because I've been doing that for a long time, and I figured that doesn't work. It's not me, right? There's certain things I need to do and there's certain things I don't want to do. And that's when I put my own character in. And this is why my clients, they love me for who I am and the focus and the vision I have. So there's multiple ways. So for example, 6-7 months ago, I sent a LinkedIn message to a sales manager at a real estate company. Okay, in Cyprus. And I told him I'm interested in this specific construction site that you guys have, the specific project that you have. The reply back to me through LinkedIn was kind of the same way that he would have said if he saw you face to face, like, hey, re, file, ela, re. Okay. So then I felt like, hold on, but this doesn't look right. So then I approached the actual general manager of the real estate company. I said, well, if you had to receive this, what would you say? Right?
True, yeah.
And he came back negative, saying, Daxi, this guy has a lot of work to do, and I get this, and I understand this. But if I'm an investor, I'm looking to invest, and I'm looking to buy 3 properties, and I get this response, I'm going to go to your next competitor. True. It's all about the numbers game, right? Okay, yeah. So eventually they said, hold on, and they called me in. I didn't blame the sales guy. It's just because they never told him how to respond. So the basic thing to do is give him a template, right? Whether it's English, Russian, or Greek. Just to change the date and send it like this. It's template, it's standardized. He doesn't need to think about this. Because the first excuse they say, oh, he doesn't know English. Then why is he dealing in the Limassol market? Because Limassol market, you're not just Greek speaking, English speaking, and Russian speaking. You need to be trilingual.
Yeah.
And if
How many
you're
languages
not,
do you speak, by the way? Sorry.
So English, Armenian, Afrikaans, which is a form of Dutch, Greek. I speak a little Greek, and I understand a bit of Turkish.
Okay.
So 5 languages. Yeah.
Nice.
You understand a little bit of Greek, but I
understand everything in Greek, but sometimes I use it to my advantage.
Okay.
So
that's what I do with Russian. I'm with Russian people, and they assume I'm from another country, and I just listen to what they're saying, and I understand everything, and then I'm like, hi in Russian.
So yesterday, someone, you know how, I don't know if you guys get this, you get people phoning for like surveys, right? Like
yes.
it's 8 o'clock in the evening, 9 o'clock in the evening. So someone phoned my house yesterday, and it's I was like, and it's like, hey, I'm phoning from this company, I'm doing this research. I was like, sorry, do you speak English? That was the end of the conversation. So I was like, oh, fantastic. But so that's one way. I try and look at what the procedures are and what the processes are, and then I just make it visible to the management, and I say, well, this is the situation. The other thing is that when you go to a restaurant, like, I don't want to give the name. So I went to a restaurant and the service was very, very bad. So I went to the manager and I was like, you know what, I'm never going to come back to this restaurant again. And I bring clients here on a regular basis. And they're like, but what was the issue? And I said, well, the issue was that this, I ordered this, it didn't come. I ordered that, it was cold. I ordered this, and I wanted Coke, you brought 7-Up. I wanted beer, you brought water. I mean, where do I begin from? And he's like, and Daxi, but they're new, so you kind of expect this. And I said, hold on. So do I pay half the price for my meal because they're new? There's a discount today. No, so then when I come into this establishment, I expect the same service every single day, right? True. Because I have to pay the same money every day. So I'm not expecting less because this person is new. Eventually said, okay, fair enough. We apologize. The next meal is for free. And they kind of understood this, and it's not just becoming arrogant, right? This is bad. No, it's, look, guys, you're in this business. There's a lot of competition out there, right? Yes. Okay. What sets you apart from everyone else? Customer service, communication, prospects, quotations, pricing. I mean, there's multiple things. So let's look at the 2 things which I know for sure is wrong because the response from the sales guy was really bad. And let's improve on this. So, I mean, there's multiple ways, but, any manager that you speak to, they will not accept that there is an issue in the company. When I'm talking to the HR manager, manageresses, and I say, how do you do the interviews? Oh, no, don't talk to us about this because we've been doing it for many years. Doesn't mean that it's right.
Exactly.
Right? I'm not saying reinvent the wheel. I'm just saying streamline the wheel so it goes faster and it costs less fuel.
True.
That's all I'm doing.
Is there a way you can assess a company as an outsider without, let me give you an example, as for SEO services, you know, probably SEO, right? So there are many freelance SEO freelancers that they analyze your website and they send you a video on LinkedIn or email and they're like, hey, there are these problems. Is there a way you can do the same thing with soft skills? You can analyze, assess the company's soft skills or something you can improve as an outsider by looking at their, I don't know, like you said, or either communicating through LinkedIn or watching their, visiting their website, or is there?
There's multiple ways. The one thing that I did it to an existing client, so I'm laughing. I went to my client's website, and on the website, he's got a specific section that says subscribe for newsletters and like monthly newsletters and stuff. So I put in my email, I hit send, and then I got a notification saying, thank you very much. Our records have been updated. A couple of days later, he sends me a message saying, you sent me an email. What is this about? Is this a virus? Okay. And I read it and I had no clue because it wasn't from his website. It was from the actual application that deals, it's like MailChimp and that type of stuff. And I'm scratching my head. I'm thinking, what the hell is this? I didn't send him this. Did someone hack my account? And then I realized that it came from the website. So I said, no, it's from the subscribe button, right? So these type of things, you don't need to get inside the business. They've got a contact. You send a general email saying, I have a couple of questions. Can someone phone me? This is my number. Okay. And what you do is 9 times out of 10, they'll send you an email back. I didn't ask for you to send me an email. I asked you for me to call me back. This is why I've got my mobile number, right? So you don't need to know the insides outs of the company, even the small things like this. Other things is looking at the website and just seeing if they're listed their products and services correctly. If it's in 2 languages, if the company is mainly, let's say, Russian-based, or the clientele is mainly Russian-based, and their website isn't Russian or it's not translated, just stick Google Translate on there. Let it do it by itself if you don't want to spend any money. I mean, there's multiple things, but you don't necessarily need to go deep into the company. I mean, if you phone the customer service, if you send an email, if you go to their website 5-10 minutes, you can kind of understand where they're lacking and where they can.
What are the 4 main objections you get as a salesperson? How can you advise someone, to learn from your experience? Because it's really important as freelancers and especially as freelancers, because many get rejected either for price, time, I don't know, many reasons, So what were your 4 main objections?
So I'm going to narrow it down to just one.
Okay.
It's usually money. And I'll give you the reason why. If you phoned a CEO today and you said, hi, my name is Anto. I want to do the SEO for your website and I'm going to do it for free. I'm going to send you all the details. Give me 10 minutes and I'm going to give you everything for free. Do you think they're going to say no? They're going to say yes, because it's for free. If you tell them, hi, my name is Anto. I want to offer you the service. It's going to be 2,000. Oh, I don't have time. So all of a sudden our time is... So I get passionate about this. Part of the sales process, the most interesting part in the sales process is the objection handling. Okay, objection handling comes right at the end. Why? Because that's where you need to get them to commit and to pay you whatever it is they need to pay you. Everything prior to this is all roses and it smells fantastic because there's no commitment from either side. And you can tell that when it comes closest to the end part, salespeople become more agitated because they know that I have to get the money now and is he going to sign? Okay, it happens. It's natural. And I was doing this. I learned from my mistakes. I burnt many leads. Okay, so during the objection handling process, you need to say, okay, so you believe in my work, correct? And you're telling me that you do see the need of having an SEO, right? Okay, and you do believe that you need someone dedicated like myself to provide you with a service. Yes, yes. And do you believe that I can bring you additional clients? Do you believe that you're going to get beneficial results from this? Yes, 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 yes. Okay, cool. So the only thing that's left there is the money. It's nothing else. I've heard millions of objections. I don't have the time. I need to speak to my partner.
I'm not interested.
I'm not interested. Nah, but then why did you call me here if you're not interested?
I would like to add something to that part, interested, because I was watching, do you know Jeffrey Gitomer?
Yeah.
I was watching Michael Virardi webinar with Jeffrey Gitomer, and Jeffrey was saying that it's it's not because they're not interested. It's about you are not interesting as a human, because
True.
You don't have many things to discuss with your customer, and you seem boring to them. Yeah, and that's really important, because if you approach someone, you are approaching a human being, and you are not approaching only a corporate,
It's the same thing with as being a teacher. If you're not one to teach to kids or anyone else, to give advice, to spread your knowledge to them, it's not gonna benefit any of you in the classroom. Not himself, nor the children there. So if you really want to do something, people, they are gonna see it, and they are gonna appreciate.
True.
And you build a relationship. So all the clients that I've had in the past 20 years, I'm still in contact with them because I've built that relationship. It's not just a one time, it's not a one night stand. I'm getting married to them, right? And that's how I see it. Before I wasn't doing this. Before I was just in it for the money, to get the sale, to get that, and then I'm out. What they did 6 months later, I didn't care. I just got my check, and that's it. And then I realized, hold on, but you're building a relationship, and this is where you said you build the trust, and you don't have anything that you can understand, and you can communicate with each other. That's important. It's like having friends, right? I have so many friends out there, but I only have a few that I can consider as actual true friends, because we communicate, we're on the same level, we've got the same way of thinking, we're interested in the same type of things. I mean, that's different. So if I'm going to go to a prospect and I'm going to try and get them to become my client, and I'm only there to sell my product or my service, it's not going to happen. That's why probing, I need to ask questions. I need to be able to understand what do they need from me, and then I need to tailor it accordingly. All right?
Yeah.
But 9 times out of 10, and I was in a sales meeting many years ago, and the guy got to the end of the presentation. He did the presentation fantastically. I mean, like hands down, awesome, superstar. And he got to the end part where the client needed to sign and pay a deposit for the product, for the service. And anyway, it for me, looking at it as an outside viewer, it was funny, yet it was a disaster at the same time, because at one point they started arguing about the pricing. 1,000 euros. It's too much. Okay, 950. It's too much. It was like, guys, what are we doing exactly? Like, what is going on here? Are you buying like a pen, or are you actually investing in your company? Okay, so the one thing that I always do is, whenever it's an objection about the price, I'm not going to jeopardize it. I'm not going to lower my price, because I believe my price is this. Okay, what I can do is I can incorporate to your pricing budget, but I'm not going to give you the full service. As in the same way as if I have 5,000 euros and I want to buy a brand new car, okay, I can't buy the Range Rover. I can't, right? But I can buy another car that's a 4x4, maybe a Suzuki that's secondhand, right, for 5K. So I'm still going to get what I want, the 4x4 feeling, but it's not going to be the Range Rover, right? Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. So I never argue about the pricing, never. Because if I start arguing about the pricing, then I'm lowering myself down. Yeah. And then people are going to say, oh, but I'm comparing you to this person, that person. The first thing I used to do is I say, okay, why am I expensive? Why is Anto expensive? Yeah, because it's a lot of money. Compared to what? What are you comparing my services to? Is there anybody else outside there? No. So then how can you compare me? Okay, so money is your own issue. So that's what I'm saying. I don't have the top 4. It's just one. It's money. 99.9% of the time, it's money. They're going to tell you, I don't have the time. They're going to tell you, I have to speak to my partner. They're going to tell you, I'm not the one that deals with the financial aspects of the company. I need to speak to my accountant. I need to speak to my wife. And there's like a million things. It's the money. If I wanted to sell this to you and I say, Sergio, this is like 1,000 euros, do you want it? You're going to say no, right? And I say, okay, 800, you're still going to say no. If I give this to you for free, are you going to say no? No, you're going to take this, you're going to sell it. It's all about the money.
Yeah.
All the other objections just fluff, because they don't want to be honest. They don't want to say, Refile, I don't have 2,000 euros to give you right now. I'm tight. I financially, I'm strapped. No one will say this to you.
So how do you build that value around your services? I mean, meaning that, there are many freelancers that provide services for, let's say, 100 euros per 1 hour.
Yeah.
Many are going to say, no, I can find someone else. But how can, there are different strategies to
show them what you can do. Show them a portfolio. Show them something that's wow.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, the word wow. Yeah, it's really important. So,
and if you don't have anything to show, then you shouldn't be charging 100 euros for the time being. Charge 70, charge 80.
Yeah,
Once you get the wow factor, then you can say, look, this is what I've done. I mean, I can't go around charging 125 euros an hour on my first client. I could not do this. It was unimaginable. But now I can say, these are my clients. You want referrals? Phone them up. I even have their mobile number. You can speak to them directly. It's more powerful. That's my wow factor to my clients, to my prospects.
And that's what I've done in my 4 years ago when I started doing video production services. I was calling and going to different shops and I was like, hey, I used to do vlogs, and I was like, hey, I do vlogs and I would like to film a video for your shop, and that's how I started doing. And I am really glad I had the opportunity to start working for free. Just understanding to work working for yourself is more important. They are paying for your development. That's how I see it. You are paying me so I can go home, learn more, have tools, to improve. So many of us must understand that working for money can take you to 3 steps ahead, but working for passions and ambitions and problems and solving problems is a way, and providing to other people is far more important, I believe.
Yeah. And you need to have something that's different. If you believe in yourself, if you believe in your product, you need to do something different. Don't do what everyone else is doing. You've seen, I don't do marketing. I don't have a marketing person. I don't do blogs and this type. I don't do it because, not that I don't believe it. I prefer to prioritize my concentration on other things and making connections on LinkedIn and speaking to people and getting to know people and, doing Zoom meetings and just to get the feel of who you are, what you do, and so on and so on, how I can help you. People keep on telling me, Anto, you need to spend money on LinkedIn, you need to do advertising, you need to do sponsored ads. It's not me. Maybe it'll be me 10 years down the line, but it's not me. It's not my priority now. It's not about the money. It's not about the time. It's about my priority.
Yeah.
Right now, my priority is not this. My priority is to build that relationship. People that come to me, I want to know who they are. I don't want to be put in the market as just someone and then get a phone call from people I don't know. That's not me.
Yes.
It's building the relationship. That's why majority of my clients are through referrals.
Yeah.
One client is happy, they refer to another business, that person comes to me, they check my website, they look at my LinkedIn, they look at the referrals, they come to me. It's like a domino effect.
That's one of that's our main service actually that we'll be providing, digital relationships.
Awesome.
Because I believe that there's a way you can bypass risk, transparency, trust with having a proper online presence, either a website, either your content, either the value you provide. So I believe many organizations lack the communication and the trust they have with their likes and comments and their shares. It's just a number. And that's why we believe that it's really important to have this digital relationship. Before we close it, I would like to hear your personal goals for 2021. And and your message for both of our audiences actually.
So the message is gonna be the easy one. I want people to stop lying.
It's easy to
easy to say.
Yeah.
Just be yourself. I mean, I see so many people that try and be people that they're not, even on social media. No, just be yourself. Be comfortable with who you are. As soon as you do this and you start understanding, you start accepting yourself, everything becomes more easier in life, right? And you start seeing things in a positive way rather than a negative way. So I guess my one thing would be just be yourself. Don't let anyone try and affect who you are, right? And don't try and let people say things that you can't do. Negativity out. I mean, just positive reinforcement, right? Where do I see myself, I guess, this year and the coming years is I want to be able to, first of all, create a course or multiple courses that I can put online so that I can reach more people. Because right now it's just me, it's Anto. But I want to be able to give something back to the people and have courses online so that they can read through it at a very minimal cost and get to learn and get to understand what it means by social skills. What does it mean by body language, misconceptions of body language, microexpressions, lie detection, and so on and so forth. But one thing I'm planning on doing is working with the youth this year and try and find an organization, whether it's a university or even if it's a high school, even a primary school, that I can transfer my knowledge, even if it's speaking to a crowd of 300 kids in a room, maybe not now, but on Zoom. Then even if one kid from this 300 picks up something positive, I feel like I've given something back. And working with the youth for me is very, very important. So that's one thing I want to do.
Whenever you'll do that project, helping the youths, and you can rely on us. I can help you with video production, anything that can help you, get that message to more people in Cyprus or in other countries. That's what we're gonna do as well on the 8th of the next month with Abraham Themistocles. We're gonna go. He's an animal assisted therapy. He provides services with his dog, and there's this organization KEPA, Κέντρο Υγείας και Αγάπης στην Παραλίμνη, and he helps old people with their νευρικό σύστημα, oh my god, I forgot the word in English. Νευρικό σύστημα.
Okay, yeah.
So they have problems with their
motor neural functions.
So as soon as they see the dog, because they had the previous experiences with the dogs, they can
whatever.
I try. That's what I've said to Janos, our other intern. It's find content that we can help other people, promote other people, good intentions.
Exactly.
So either it's yours or Adamos or Avramis. If you need any help to help film for free, I'll do it for you for free.
Beautiful.
I'll do it because I believe in helping. I believe in collaborating with other companies and not seeing them as competitors only, which is really important.
Exactly.
So Anto, thank you very much for today. I believe you've shared with us many valuable information, many can learn, and that's the goal. So one person, one youth or CEO or whatever, learn one thing and they can go implement it and become a better leader tomorrow.
Beautiful. Thank you guys for the time and the opportunity. It's been awesome. And you guys didn't lie to me, so I'm happy.
Well, thank you once again, and let's make 2021 our best year.
Definitely.